that I was doing this at 10:45, but here I am. Oh boy. Oh geez. Let me think for a second. Let me go to this thing. Let me go. I gotta set all this thing up now. Oh man, I got caught writing up a thing. I'm writing a thing right now, and it was taking all my attention, and I was like, I probably got a couple more minutes until the stream starts, and then I looked over and I was like, oh wait a second, the stream started right now. Starts right now. So I'm setting it up. I'm gonna set that thing up. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna set it up. I'm gonna set it up right now. Pop out chat. There you go. Alright, and sling that down in there. Hey Helen, hey Zio. Looks like you guys are number 1 and 2. You know, the number ones. Hey Cat. No, Cat, no. Not the wrong account. Brr. I don't understand why you don't use your Harley Cat account. Anyways, hey Amada, hey Daiji. Let me get this set up right now. There we go. Window capture. I'm gonna remove that bad boy. Yep. And then I'm gonna go add. Window capture. Okay. There you go. Okay. Edit that scene. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Nope. Not quite perfect. There you go. Alright. So, we got everybody in here. Great, great, great. Good, good, good. Let me post some links. Looks like my stream health is not that great. Not that great at all. Who'd have guessed? But, I am just dying here. Okay. My word. Okay, this is my Loki account. Awesome. Cool. I'm just going to publish the link. Perfect. Great. Okay. So, obviously the mail didn't come today because it's Sunday. But, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let's see. Hey, Marie. McPickled Flicker. Hey, Selena. Hi, Candace. What is going on there? What was that about? Oh. You know who loves it when I say hi to people? Siri. Siri loves that. Because she is summoned when you say the word hey in your own voice. And when you start saying a bunch of names, one of them's got to sound like Siri, right? Oh, God. Selena, Zombicide was interesting. It was a tutorial game, so I had to teach 3 new players how to play. The campaign went smoothly, though. There's a period where everybody's afraid. Everyone's afraid of like a zombie at the beginning of the game, and it takes hours for that to pass. It takes a long time for people to stop flipping out every time a zombie appears on the board at all. But once that happens, once that passes, you start playing a little faster, but people still get very indecisive, and that's something I have to start working on, sort of cultivating in people. It's just like, you're playing this game, it's going to take a very, very long time to finish if we don't just make decisions and go forward with them. And so I end up teaching people how to play very conservatively, and we play these, like, last night it was like a 6.5 hour game. And these games are only supposed to take 1.5 hours to 2 hours to play. So I need to start getting people on board with just making a decision and going with it and suffering the consequences, because it's very scary for them to go through the concept of being eaten alive by zombies and watching their teammates die. Although some people seem very okay with that. They're just like, oh, I don't care if everyone dies as long as I live. Like, I'm fine. I'm great with it. But I try to make everyone into an enthusiastic team player, but it gets hard, you know. Hey, Mephonix. Alright, well, I'm sorry you can't stay long, but I wouldn't want you staying here while you're feeling sickly. So go back to bed. It'll be online whenever you want to watch it, if you want to watch it at all. I don't care. So have a good night, and we'll be streaming again probably tomorrow or whatever. Definitely tomorrow. Right up until Christmas, I'm going to be streaming every day, I think. I got enough Helen packages to last me until Christmas, so that's at least something for me to jump online for a little while and do an unboxing with. Bye. So, let's see. Got up this morning, made breakfast, went and played D&D, and then I came home. I didn't get to talk too much about... Hey, Monet. I didn't get to talk too much about the charity event. Hey, Elizabeth. The charity event from Saturday, the Kids Can Cosplay. I guess it was a toy drive. It was really just an event for kids to run around and get their pictures taken with different characters and stuff. And there was some Disney princesses, and there was some Marvel characters, and there was some DC characters, and there was some Star Wars characters, and there was a Santa. So the kids were most excited. Hey, Austin. Weird. And people were, the kids were most excited to see the Santa because, Santa's a pretty active part of their lives. And they want to make sure that they get in good with the big man. And we, over in the Marvel characters section, we had a few kids come over and talk to us, but we had a pretty easygoing day. It was definitely not, hey, Ashley, it was not a, I don't know, it just wasn't a super busy event. I don't want you guys thinking I was, like, slaving away all day to, like, entertain kids. Is Zombicide the same as Zombies? I was at the gaming store and had... No, Zombicide is its own game. It's actually very hard to find at gaming stores. Very few of them... very few stores actually carry it because it's such an expensive purchase, and they probably don't sell many copies. There are a lot of zombie-based games, but Zombicide's one of the only ones I like because it's a team-based game. Anyways, so I was only there at this place for 3 hours, coming back to the charity event, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And a lot of the kids were really sweet. One kid, I was walking by and I could see him, like, doing this thing, looking at me like I'm a real supervillain, and I kind of looked at him and I went like this to him, and he started crying immediately. Like, just, like, real crying, like, panic crying, and I was like, well, gonna have to be more careful with that, but that was kind of funny. And then there was a bunch of other kids that had funny little stories, and one of them, like, went to punch me in the head, and he actually knocked one of my horns off, which is fine, because it's magnetic, but, like, it fell off, and it hit him right in the forehead. So that's another child hurt by me in costume, physically, on top of the story of me trying to catch the kid jumping off the ledge and accidentally poking her in the eye, which was a little Miley. That was a shame. Let's see. It's not, who was the same? No, Monet, they're not the same. Let's see. So... yeah, the whole being a villain thing is a mixed bag. Because some of the kids, they know you're not going to do anything to them. And they're just like, you're in a weird costume. I'll walk up to you and talk to you about stuff. It doesn't matter. And other kids are just like, no, I think you're a murderer. So I'm absolutely terrified of you. I'd love it if you scared my kids and made them cry. Ashley, be nicer to your kids. You don't you don't gotta wish the scaredness on your kids. That's not nice. Maybe it's not nice to be scared. They don't want that. They want to be comfortable and happy. So I don't particularly want to make a big I don't want to make a child care thing out of the costume thing. Like, I very much like going to conventions where there are young adults to adults who are there, who know of the character and who will act accordingly. But the whole thing with just like having 100 kids running around and needing to like really, really try hard to cater to them, whether or not they understand what's happening at all. Like, I could do that, I think, much more out of costume than in costume. I actually like working with kids. When I worked at the elementary school, that was one of the funnest jobs I ever had. But trying to do it in costume, they get the range of emotions becomes amplified, and it's too difficult to really like. It becomes difficult to like just get a hold on the situation. So I don't know. I'm glad to do more charity events. I've actually passed on a few of them earlier because any other time of year it's too hot. It's too hot for outdoor events, and usually the charitable, either whether it's at a hospital or whatever, a lot of times they'll just be in like the parking lot of the venue. And in California, Southern California, you're having an event in July where it's a fundraiser or it's a charitable thing where cosplayers show up and do stuff. To try to stand outside in a 40-pound costume made out of vinyl for several hours is dangerous. I mean, that's what really comes down to is I'll get heat stroke. So I haven't done one until yesterday. Kids on recess the whole day. I don't know. It's not like I said. It was only 3 hours, so it's not a whole day of anything. But yeah, some of them get very rambunctious and excited. The Star Wars people, I think, had it the hardest because they were handing out balloon animal balloons, the long ones. And the kids were swinging around like lightsabers. And as you know, if you've ever met a child, or if you were a child who got something that resembled a weapon, you just get really rough. And you just immediately start hitting the child next to you, especially the smaller one. And you have no control over whether or not you're moving way too fast and hitting them really hard. So there was a lot of kids walking around with balloons just they think it's a balloon, it's not going to hurt anybody. What they don't understand is that their fist is wrapped around that balloon, and if they swing the wrong way, they're hitting someone else with their fist, even though it's wrapped around a balloon. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of kids that were scared to do something, and parents like, go talk to the thing, and the kid would be like, I don't want to, and the parents like, just do it, come on. So that was a little uncomfortable at times. I just never kicked them out of the store if they misbehave, so a lot of kids are scared of cashiers. That's not right either. The parent of the crying kid now has ammo to make the kids listen. Better do, or Loki's gonna come see you. Yeah, I'm getting used as the Krampus now, so that's unfortunate. Although I don't know, kind of makes sense. Sort of a little, I don't know if that's friendlier or not, especially with that movie coming out where it's actually a horror movie. Yeah, Selena, it was a good time. I should have eaten more. I was a little cranky by the end because I hadn't quite eaten enough, but, what are you going to do? You get up at 6 a.m., you don't feel like getting up at 5 a.m. so that you have enough time to prepare breakfast and eat and all that stuff, so it came out just fine. Everything was just fine. And then I went to my D&D game today, and we had a nice nice leisurely battle with some henchmen in a dojo sort of thing. Not literally. I mean, this is all in-game stuff, but yeah, there was that, and then there was a Zombicide game last night where I got to teach some eager young players to play, and it was great. It was just great. Did I take that home with me? I think I may have left something there. Anyways, so let's open a package. I've got the 9 Days of Helen's Miss packages here, so we can open up one of those. Since it'll be the only one I open up tonight, I'm actually going to go with one that's a little bigger. There's 2 more that are very similarly sized and shaped compared to the last 2 I opened, but then there's this one. This one here is about twice the size of the last 2 Helen gifts I opened. So let's see what's in there, shall we? I'm trying to think of other stuff I can bring up with you guys, because I know, like, every time mentally, oh man, of course, it's a trap. Check this out. Inside, the whole reason I am opening up this gift is because these 2 gifts look very similar to the ones that I opened up for the last 2 days. But inside this gift is this gift and this gift, which are identical to this gift and this gift, which are identical to the 2 gifts that I was just mentioning. So, as it turns out, now I have one more gift to open for the 10 Days of Helen's Miss. I cannot deal with it. Jade, it takes a lot of patience. I used to dress Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. It was tough. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, like, with dressing like a character who's kind of as complicated as a Harry Potter professor, like, I imagine half of them didn't even know who you were, and half of them, like, knew exactly who you were, and half of them were scared of you, and half of them were, like, just, like, didn't care at all. So you get a mixed bag, and you've got to cater to all of them. And the tough part for me was staying in character. I had to kind of put on a stupid accent, and, like, I hate doing that accent, and try to, like, stay with them for whatever, they had to say to me. And I don't know, it was very improvisational, which I like, but doing an accent all the time is, I like to drop that after a while. Yeah, the thing is, Helen, you wanted to wrap each 2 together. Yeah, okay, I don't blame you. You wrapped everything individually, though. So let's open this up and see what's in here. So, yesterday and the day before that was a new set of minis that represented a Zombicide character. And today is no different, because today's character is named Kuro. Kuro is, let's face it, he's Tony Montana. Let me turn this like that. He's Tony Montana. And zombie Tony Montana you may recognize from the scene where Scarface says, "Say hello to my little friend." And he's a nice kind of deep blue color, as you can see here. Kuro's story is as follows. Abomination. I'll show you an abomination. When I'm done, zombies will fear humans, not the other way around. That's my Scarface impression. A violent man in a violent world, Kuro finally feels at peace with himself. Well, in a way. He's at least much happier as a zombie butcher than a book publisher. Although it can be argued that the publishing business is as cutthroat as any gang war. Eventually, he went too far in the pursuit of high profit margins and found himself in jail. When the apocalypse began and the prison was overrun, he personally battered half a dozen berserkers to death with a crowbar. The world needs men like him again, although the overwhelming nature of his rage threatens to turn him into the greater monster than those he destroys. Was there a part in Scarface where Tony Montana says he's a book publisher? Let's see. I got spat on a lot. Oh my god, that sounds terrible. Got fed up with rapping after 3 hours. Sounds like it's harder to impress kids than adults. Yeah, definitely. Well, because adults have a sense of, what's appropriate. Kids just say what's on their mind, which sometimes is refreshing and sometimes it's exhausting. See, if someone spits on me, automatic reaction would be to become enraged. That's sensible, Jade. I don't blame you for that. I want to stay to watch and listen to today's adventures with the kids, but it's past 4 a.m. where I am, so I bid everyone a good night. Good night, Tam. Thanks for stopping by, but certainly go get some sleep. We'll be broadcasting again tomorrow at some point. I smiled and told them if they weren't nice to me, that I'd send Dementors after them. That's pretty terrifying. I've never seen Scarface. Yeah, Scarface is one of those, like, it's definitely one of those, like, I think it's pretty sensible for someone who's not particularly interested in gangsters or, like, kind of that, like, drug culture lifestyle. I think it's pretty easy not to see that movie. It's very violent. It's very gritty. It's very vulgar. So, if that's not your thing, Scarface may just, maybe better to just kind of leave it off your radar. Ziamara is very offended, though. She wants you to see it. So, I would say get yourself some company who's okay with you cringing when you watch someone get their arms cut off by a chainsaw. And then, is it a chainsaw? I feel like it's, yeah. It's on my watch list. Freezes every time I write on chat. Sorry, Helen. I've never seen The Notebook either. And the amount of shocked gasps I get. Yeah, I've never seen The Notebook either, and honestly, I'm not that interested in it. I'm sure it's very touching. But at the end of the day, I just don't want to watch it. Well, check out Scarface. It's definitely a different take on kind of gangster culture in that it's the story of an immigrant who is looking to make a new name for himself, looking to come to a new world, and he does, and he's amazingly successful. Only caveat is that he does it through means that are less than legal. So, highly unrealistic love story. Yeah. Have you ever watched the Silent Hill movie? I have watched it. I found it to be interesting. Kind of, I don't know, a little too much CG, I think. It wasn't scary because it was all computer graphics, But the Silent Hill stuff, I mean, that wasn't an American video game. Like, that was conceived in Japan. I think a lot of that had trouble permeating the membrane of American culture, where it's like Pyramid Head, like, but why? Like, why would, like, this damned soul end up with a big pyramid on his head? Why? Like, why do they all look like that? Why does the ground, like, why does it operate like that? Well, it operates like that because it's a video game, not a movie. And then when you make it into a movie, it's like, well, sure, but shouldn't this be more consistent or whatever? No, it shouldn't, because you should be hitting X to evade, or whatever it is that the video game controls look like. I think I'd rather watch Scarface than The Notebook. Yeah, I'm with you, Ashley. So, I don't know. The Silent Hill movie, I watched it, and it was whatever. It was alright. People love that shit, though. Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy. Like, all of those video game franchises I have no investment in. And people go nuts about them. I told my buddy that Cloud Strife was going to be in Smash Brothers, and he was like, forget it, we're stopping, we're not playing right now, we're going to buy Cloud immediately. And I was like, alright, if you insist, buddy. Like, I was more excited about Little Mac, but I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you're happy about it, buddy. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah. You know, I'm not even going to bring it up. There's a very long Tumblr post I'm about to publish in a couple of minutes, right after this, Bayonetta, yeah. I saw her. She's an interesting addition. She's a very sexy character to be putting in Smash Brothers with all the Kirbys and Marios of the world. Somewhat based on a real place in Pennsylvania. There was an accident in a coal mine. Something in the town continues to burn below the ground to this day. Well, sure, Ashley, but the thing is, like, when the people in that Pennsylvania town died, like, all the nurses weren't wrapped in, like, weird, gross bandages, and, like, there were no butchers walking around with giant metal objects on their head. Like, there's no reason for, like, the weird costume changes. Like, that's such a, like, beautiful Japanese concept to infuse into a storyline of a film whose major release is going to be in America. Like, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't. It's like trying to make a lot of anime into an American movie. It just doesn't come across that well for some reason. I think the place is Centralia or something. Forgot the property. You got it right. I've been there. It's really cool. Okay. Between Monet and Ashley, it's hard to differentiate you guys when you speak because you both have the same icon. See, I'm gonna be publishing something on Twitter about, like, about people being offended about shit. And I don't know why. I know why they're offended, but I don't know why they bother bringing their complaints to me. Because I cannot care. I can't take the time to care about everyone's complaints. And if your feelings are hurt by anything I say or do, I have to recommend that you just stop looking at me altogether. Because I don't have any other way of acting. If you don't like the broadcast, don't watch the broadcast. If you don't like the way I write on Tumblr, don't follow my Tumblr. If you don't like the pictures I'm posting, if you don't like something about my costume, stop looking at it. Because it's not going to change. You're not going to change. I choose to change how I do things. You choose to change the things you do. Now, you can come to me and say, I find that this works for me, which I'm still, even then, not particularly interested in hearing. Because, like, honestly, unless I'm coming to you for advice, I don't want advice. So, yeah, don't do that either. Just shut it. Like, honestly, if you've got complaints with me, go away and shut your mouth. And that's the best I can ask of anyone. Like, just shut the hell up and stay out of my face, because I've got too many people that think they know what's best for me, and I like I said, can't care. I can't care. I've tried to care. I can't. Google took away your icon photo. Was it your boobies or something, Monet? Carly, don't say that. I heard Labyrinth was based on a true story. Don't kill my hopes and dreams. Shut up and go away. I don't say if considered putting it on a shirt. I didn't like something you said about Tom Hiddleston in one broadcast, but then I came to realize you probably get a lot about the guy cosplaying as Loki. But that comes with the territory, sadly. Yeah, I mean, Glasgow Trickster, exactly. Like, the thing is, like, I have nothing bad to say about Tom Hiddleston. I think he's probably an awesome dude when you meet him. I think he's probably incredibly polite and gracious and, like, super handsome and tall and, like, what everyone... I'm sure he's exactly what everyone expects him to be or wants him to be. But you can only hear in your life so many times the exclamation, the amazed exclamation, you are in some way as good as this other person, and that to me is pleasing. When you start to realize that there's an indication that the assumption is that you're worse than that person. You get it? Like, if you had an older brother or sister, and every one of your relatives came up to you and said, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you are as smart as your brother. Wow, that is great." Like, and it's like, what is that? How is that the baseline? And I don't get my own judge. Like, I don't get to be judged on my own merits. I get to be judged in comparison to somebody else. Which is, of course, almost unreasonable for me to ask, because I do dress as this character exclusively, and, you know, of course I'm going to be compared. But when I'm in plain clothes, and people still want to come to me and say, "You look... this is the person who I think is good, and you are almost as good as them," and it's like, well, fucking, you're not as good as anything I would want, so why don't you get the fuck out of my life forever? So I get a little irritable about some of the Tom Hiddleston stuff, but not, you know, I got nothing against the guy. I oftentimes play up like, oh, he's a big jerk or whatever, but I don't really think that. Do they really have nothing better to do? No, it's the internet, Jade. People don't ever have better things to do. What a beautiful life that would be. A lot of people are grateful for that. Yes, David Bowie is a gift to humankind. Yeah, and that codpiece he had in Labyrinth, that thing is a monster. It's like, I don't know what he had stuffed down there, but, I mean, that was a big old bulger. I actually do have an older brother who was favored by my parents, so totally understand it. You do your thing. You're awesome. Yeah, I got an older brother too. And that's what's crazy, is that, like, you know, that was my upbringing, was, my brother preceded me. He's a year older than me. And we go to school, and I think a lot of the time he was doing better than me grades-wise. And on top of that, he was also a guy who played baseball, guy who played football, guy who played basketball. He golfed, he surfed, he skated, BMX biking, snowboarding, skiing. He was, you know, just so good at so many things. And I was just like, I don't know, I like toys. Like, I liked reading comic books. Well, I didn't even like reading comic books all that much. Like, I liked looking at the pictures. I liked looking at things, and I liked very specific things that were like very enticing to me, and it didn't create a skill for me. Like it never won me any games. Like it never even got me into like chess club. You know, it never got me into theater. It never got me into a lot of the things that like, you know, could be considered a useful skill later in life. I just had interests that I really loved, and what kind of developed of that was, uh, when, you know, high school time came, and you know, even younger than that, like walk into family functions with aunts and uncles and grandparents and stuff, and I could walk in the door and they'd be like, "Oh, yay, it's you." And then my brother would walk in the door, and it was like in a TV show where they have like or like a late night interview show, like a talk show, where they introduce a guest at the beginning of the show and people are clapping. But then they introduce like the bigger guest later, and like the audience goes crazy, like standing ovation. And that's always what I felt like next to my brother. And so I get very defensive when people have a much larger reaction to a person who I think of as my equal. And I think that's why Steven and I are such good friends, is because we both kind of have that same mentality where we just want to be seen as, you know, two guys that do the same thing. And we're just like, yeah, we're hanging out. We want to be a team more than we want to be these two entities that we want you to like pit against each other. Like we never wanted to be, we never want anyone to come up and say, "Oh, well, you're my favorite. Out of the two of you, I like you better, and you're okay. Like, you're fine, you're great, or I care not for you at all, and you are very good." Like, any of that shit is bad. It's bad stuff. So, be careful of that. It comes out a lot. It happens a lot. Whether it's, you know, the scale tips this way or this way, and I'm sure there's a ton of other cosplayers who travel in groups or pairs or whatever who can attest to the same shit, where it's like, you know, "Hello, two young women. I'm a young man, and I follow both of your pages, but especially yours because of A, B, and C reasons," or, you know, or "I'm just going to acknowledge you. I'm just going to acknowledge you there on the left and you on the right, even though I know that you're here and you would like me to acknowledge you. I'm just kind of not going to do it. So bye." So that's a little weird as well. Um, so always got to be as good or better as the next person. I think those interest passions we have that we need to do in the midst of insanity we do every day. Yeah, so I don't know. Like somehow this all ties back into criticism and into people generally feeling entitled to talk to you or tell you or try to guide you or anything about how they think you should be acting, how they think you should look, how they think you should feel, how they think things should be around you in any way. Don't. You want to say it? Say it. Don't say it at me. And if your good advice is so good that it gets around and people start exercising it, it'll get to me. But if you have something to look at me as an individual and say, I mean, if I got something on my face, certainly, you know, if I can fix it in 10 seconds, I'll take the advice. And I might even not take that well. But I mean, if you want me to fix my personality in some way, you've got a fucking fight ahead of you. And it's not going to be one you're going to win through fighting harder. So just, God, talk to your friends If they got some shit to say about Loki hates you, just make sure they know that if they want to come at me with it, I can lose them. I can happily free them from the constraints that are the ability to follow me on social media. I can do that for them immediately. Well, Monet, that's why, you know, and I know it's cliche for people to say if you're going to cosplay, do it for you and not for everybody else. And it's like, well, of course you're doing it for everyone else. Like, you're walking into a building in a friggin' costume. Like, if you're doing it for you, you could do it in your kitchen. And that would be satisfying for you for some reason. But you're not. You want the attention, you know, and that's not a crime. That's not a bad thing at all. Everyone loves attention. So you walk into a con, and you want to be recognized. And you should. But you're absolutely right. There's an aesthetic, there's an expectation, and there's a very sort of cultural bias against people who aren't perfectly put together in one way or another. Whether that's physical attributes or whether that's the actual state or condition or quality, and not quality, but whether that's how their costume looks or whether that's how they look or whether that's their likeness to the character. A lot's expected of you because you can look at the internet and you've got a smattering of everything. You've got people who are willing to try so hard to please everyone, and they succeed beautifully. But then next to them, there's people who are willing to try equally hard, but they don't succeed on the same level because they just aren't built as that machine. And you get shot down for it. You get shot down for not being number one. And you shouldn't have to be, you know, you shouldn't be shit on for not being number one. You know, at the worst, you should just hear nothing at all. That should be the worst punishment you get for not being what people expect you to be. You know, even if the result is that you end up trying harder and yelling louder and being brighter, like there's no real harm in you becoming more big, more flamboyant, more whatever you have to do, more performing more to reach out in the way you need to. But for people to actually push you down is the wrong way to go. And I hope that none of you guys feel the urge to push anything down, which is a shitty thing to hear from me, who tweets 3 times a day about how shitty a product is that I consume. But that product is, in a way, one that I pay for. And it's one that comes so highly recommended that the real reason I talk about it is because it's recommended to me often. And I want to make it clear to people that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about when they recommend things to me. And I'm trying to dissuade people from being like, oh, you're going to love this. I'm not going to love this. I'm not ever going to love this. I honestly don't care. When it comes to photos, it sucks to be shoved to the back in favor of the pretty ones. Yeah, I hear you, Monet. But you know what? Sometimes if you do get a chance to talk to the pretty ones in any given instance, sometimes they feel like they're not the pretty ones either. I mean, this isn't, you know, I'm certainly not trying to defend anyone that's, you know, been shitty to you, but like, there's always somebody out there who's willing to throw in a shitty word at you to compare you to somebody that they like better. And it's like, well, go fucking hang around with the person you like better then. Maybe we're just not compatible. And yeah, it's rough. Just remember, when each individual grown-up child, opinions are invisible. Oh, hey, Lynn. Good to see you. Man, Yeah, everyone loves seeing Lynn. um, yeah. So that's my little rant on that. But, I don't know. I've been told several times by the pretty ones. I've had a few insist on giving me a spot in the light. There you go. I mean, praise is a funny thing because it feels so gratifying. Like, it feels so incredible when people come out of nowhere and just say, like, this is a thing that I like about you. So long as it's the thing that you want to be liked for. You know, it's kind of a shitty feeling when people are like, oh, you know what I really like about you is this thing you don't like about yourself, or this thing that like you didn't work to get, and like it doesn't really matter to you all that much, but like I like it about you, so I'm telling you that to show you that I approve. And it's like that, that sucks. But yeah, gratification is something that I'm really bad at giving it. I'm truly, truly bad at being able to say to people, like, you're like, you're someone that I like enjoy it when you do this. You're someone that I think pulls this thing off really well. So I like in some ways I feel like I need to work on that, but in another way, like I also feel that when I do finally find something to say, like, that was great, like, that was impressively wow, like, I'm amazed at that. Like, I hope that that reads as a truer, not truer, but a true compliment as opposed to a formality that I kind of give to everyone. And people have different styles of doing that kind of thing, so I hope that none of you are offended if I ever don't kind of pay you the attention that you're looking for, because I'm a little contrary sometimes, and I oftentimes won't. I'll be very headstrong and not pay people the 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 attention that they're looking for, specifically because I want to discourage that. I want to discourage that, like, behavior of coming to me with an expectation for compliments and pleasantries and stuff. Um, who else thinks so too, Carla? My husband, am I right? Doesn't have the same ring to it, Lynn. So what's the plan for tomorrow? We say. This reminds me, Bill. I'm going to be making you something. What are two of my favorite colors? Monet, that's hard to answer. I mean, my two favorite colors to see, my two favorite colors to wear, my two favorite colors to draw with. Like, I mostly wear black, gray, dark blue, but I mostly enjoy looking at, I guess, red, blue, like royal blue. Just stay away from purple, green, orange, yellow. Indigo. Yeah. I mean, red, black, white are the most graphically satisfying colors, I think. You got to hear me say it, though. Let's see. Where's my cat? Let's see if we can get her over here. Come here, my little buddy. Come here. Okay, she's slowly making her way over here. Come here, my little friend. Hi, little baby. Hi. Say hi to everybody. Look over here. No, over here. Hi, everybody. There she is. Can you hear her? Yeah, Lynn, it's not even really that cold here, but I live in the ground floor, and it just the difference between the cold weather and the hot weather is much more, I don't know, pronounced when you're not used to the cold. I've gotten acclimatized living in Southern California. Hi, baby. That's my favorite buddy. Yeah. Yeah, she purrs pretty loud. She's the pretty loudest. The pretty goodest, loudest buddy. And she snores too. Oh man, you should hear her at night. She goes, it's pretty funny. Oh boy. So I don't know. I think we've covered a lot of subjects tonight. So I'm pretty happy with how things went. Yeah, -9 degrees sounds the worst. Selena, why make a joke about stealing my cat? Like, she's my cat. Why don't you go adopt a cat? I'm sure you could find a cat at a pound that would love to be your cat without having to threaten people with stealing their cats. Like, that's not a nice thing to say. I gotta try Marmite today. Her New Zealand was kind enough to send it to me. It's probably the worst thing I've ever tasted in my life. Carla, I've heard that about Marmite. She is purring. I wouldn't be surprised if you hear. So Selena, you can't steal my cat either way, because then your mom's going to be allergic to my cat instead of the cat you could have adopted. So maybe focus more on moving out of the house and less on stealing from me. Oh yeah, that's the happy face. Yeah, that's okay. Anyways, currently have a fatty purring on my chest as we speak. You know, Amato, when you said that at first, I thought you were saying you were like smoking a fatty, and I was like, wow, that's a different tone than we're used to in this broadcast. Are you ready to climb into my box on Tuesday? Lynn, are you okay? You're being a little more suggestive tonight than normal. Have a great day. Oh, the podcast is tomorrow. Oh dear. Okay. Yes, I will have fun on the podcast tomorrow. Okay. It's not gonna be late, but it's got a lot to share. Okay, so let's do that. Let's have a broadcast tomorrow after I get done with Geeks of the Galaxy. Maybe we'll even do a short Periscope right before or after Geeks of the Galaxy with Kat and I. Yeah, keep an eye on Geeks of the Galaxy tomorrow. I don't think they're going to be posting it tomorrow, but they'll probably be posting on Facebook that, you know, Kat and I will be in the studio. So, I did forget again. I thought I had all day off tomorrow. I need reminders. It's not going to be the podcast we're recording. We're not actually going to be published tomorrow. So just watch their page. You might see a picture, and then probably Tuesday night you might see the actual episode post. Okay. Yeah, they'll post it on Tuesday. So until then, let's just call it a night. I'm gonna probably go read Sandman a little bit, and then go to bed. And I hope you guys have something equally entertaining to do before bed. Because I am tired. Oh, I'm too tired. So, I will be there, not be square. And I'll see you guys very soon. Miss you. Ashley, I like Neil Gaiman. He's cool. I liked Stardust. American Gods was alright. I'm starting Sandman now, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah. Good night, good night, good night. Alright, everybody. Miss you. Love you. Bye. Bye, bye.